Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Tuesday Transformation Tidbits with Patrice. I am so honored that you are here with me on today and that we're in another month in 2025. We are in the month of February where we're unstopping momentums with acceleration and expansion. And that is our theme for 2025. And I'm glad that you've taken the time to come out this morning and hear about some more unstoppable momentum. Teardrops Liquid Language of the Heart is part of our brand. And what we're here is transforming the way of your thinking. We're empowering you to overcome obstacles. And we're igniting the passion, the power, and the potential that lies on inside of each and every one of us on this morning. I don't know why I'm so tongue-tied on this morning, but nevertheless, we're going to dwell right into it on today and for the month of February. We're going to be talking about love beyond limits. Love's ability to multiply when it's freely given. If you've ever wondered whether love can run out, if you ever felt hesitated to give so much love to someone else, if you've ever been afraid that when you give so much that you would become depleted, I am so glad that you've joined me this morning if you've ever felt this way, because on this morning, we have some tidbits just for you, some ways to help you to realize that no matter how much love that you give out, your love will never be depleted. We're going to dive right into this powerful truth about love is not depleted when it's given out on this morning. And when we begin to talk about love is not depleted when given, it is multiplied. That is exactly right what we're saying. Love is not a limited resource. It expands when it is freely shared with other people. And on today, we're going to explore what it looks like in our life when love is not depleted. What does it look like in our life when it is multiplied? We're going to be looking at it, and we're going to be delving or diving right into that this morning. And we're going to be looking at it through scriptures and through practical applications this morning. I'm going to just allow some tools or some tidbits to fall in about love in this whole month of February. So let's begin with unlimited love. Let's start out and let me just put a thought in your mind. So as you travel along today, you'll begin to think about the whole objective of love on this morning. Let's start out with one thought. And the thought is love can be compared to money. And when I say that, if I was to give someone $100 this morning, then I would have $100 less. I would have depleted $100 out of my bank account. But when we begin to look at love, love works differently. And why do I say that? Love is like a flame with one candle lighted, and then you light another candle. The first flame of that candle does not go out when you light another candle. What happens is light begins to increase. So when we begin to look at money decreases or money depletes something, love increases. There is a difference in the two. So on today, we want to really focus on the increase and not the depletion of something. When we begin to look at love, it kind of reminds me of the Bible in 1 John 4:7-8, when it says, "Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God. And whoever loves has been born of God," and they actually know who God is. And anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is what we call as love. God is the one that creates. God is love, and he does not operate in shortage. He does not operate in decrease, and he does not operate in lack. So the more we love, the more love flows back to us. The more we give out love, the more we create an atmosphere of love to come back our way. But oftentimes when we give out love, oftentimes when we want to feel love, we have the objective of fear that stop by and visit us when we want to give out love. So fear stops by, and it helps us create a blockage when fear comes. Fear stops us from freely giving out the whole objective of love. The fear of being hurt, the fear of being taken advantage of, the fear of being left empty, all comes along when we talk about the object of love. And we're going to be dealing with love for the entire month. We're going to be dealing with how we're going to freely give out love to everyone that comes into our atmosphere. Every place the feet of our feet triumph upon, we're going to give out love. So what if love, once freely give, replenishes us? If we freely give out love to everybody, there's a replenishment that comes back to us. We gain more. We become free, and we don't allow the blockage of fear to be there, nor do we allow the blockage of hatred to come in. So love, we've got to freely give it to us so that we can freely give what's on the inside of us, because the hope of glory, God, who I just told you is love, and anyone who loves God freely gives love. What is love? What if love is multiplied when we give out? So when we begin to look at that, when we give love or we give anything in faith, rather it's love, rather it's kindness, rather it's time, or rather it's generosity of whatever it is, what we take in return is multiplication. We don't take depletion when we give it in faith. So when we begin to look at love and we begin to look at another example of love, think for a moment. Jesus loves us so much until he went to the cross to die for us. What an awesome example of what love is. He sacrifices. His sacrifice wasn't the end of something, but ultimately his sacrifice was the beginning of spreading love across humanity. So when we give love, it's not the end of something, but it really is the beginning of creation of something. It's the creation of restoration, it's the creation, excuse me, I'm tongue tied again, of restoring something back together, of freely giving something that someone else stands in the need of. So we're not depleting anything, but we're increasing something. Have you ever looked at someone and you offered them so much love because they were so unhappy in the things they were doing, but you offered them so much love, and in return you created an atmosphere of love so that they had to love you back. They had to give you the same thing that you were pouring out to them, because love overcomes people. Love allows people to do things that they would not do, but they do because of the whole element of love. When you're in love with someone, you find yourself doing a whole bunch of stuff that you said, I wouldn't have done, or I wouldn't do this. And before you know it, you turn around and you're doing all of your wouldn'ts that you shouldn't have, that you couldn't have, but yet you are doing. So love has a powerful force that comes along with us. And what we stand in the need of now in this world is love. Love never stops at one person, but what it ultimately does, it spreads out and it increases as we go along the way. So when we begin to look at a spiritual insight of love, let's look at a powerful example. Once again, let me take you back to the Bible. So in Matthew's, I believe it's the 14th chapter, around the 13th through the 21st verse, it's really talking about how God is feeding 1,000 of people. And what happens is the disciple were going around and they were going to give people, or thousands of people, some food because they were hungry. They only had 5 loaves and 2 fish to give a number of people that was more than what they actually had to give. But when the disciples began to surrender the little that they had, because they had a love inside of them to want to feed the hunger, to want to supply something to someone who stood in the need of something, what happens is when they surrendered all that they have, they surrendered it unto God. And what God did is he increased what they had. He gave them more. As a matter of fact, not only did he give them more to feed, but he gave them overflow, because at the end they had more baskets left for just in case more people came. Isn't that what our God does? He not only just supplies the need, but he gives overflow in the need. I want somebody to know on today that if you think your love is running low, if you think you don't have the love that you're able to give out to someone else, surrender to God the little that you have, and watch God overflows the amount of love that you have to give to someone else on today. Let's think about it for a moment. Something that seems really small can become more than enough when we place it in the Father's hand. So it's about giving God everything that we have. It's about totally turning over our life to God with every integer of our life, with every characteristic that we possess, so that God can grant his stamp of approval upon us to give us just what we need to give out to someone else. So let's look at how love really works. When we give what we have, no matter how small it is, God increases it beyond our imagination. He goes beyond the things that we think we can do, and he grants us what we need. When we look at a practical application of love on this morning, I just want to give you some practical, like 3 practical things when we think of it. So how do we live this whole love thing out? How are we going to live this love thing out as we move in this whole month of what the world declares as a love month? How do we live this thing out? Freely give it without being fearful, without allowing fear to be our stumbling block. First thing is we got to give love freely. We got to just give it. We got to start small. We've got to encourage someone. We've got to be kind when we're serving other people. And then the greatest thing, we can't expect anything in return. The next thing is we got to forgive generously. You can't forgive smallly and expect something to come against you. If you're holding an offense this morning, that offense is draining you out. It is emptying you out. But what we've got to do, we've got to release it so that we can open the door for multiple blessings, so that we can open the door for multiple peace, so that we can open the door for multiple love. Don't allow that offense to block you from growing in life. One thing that we've got to understand is when we hold offense against other people, we stump our own growth. Forgiveness is really for us to create something new in us, to move us from the level of being in prison and to be freed. When we don't forgive, we are holding ourselves in a cell and not allowing ourselves to move. Not only that, we're saying that we can't grow in life because I got this blockage of unforgiveness. I've got this blockage of offense that stands in my way, but I've got to forgive genuinely. I've got to forgive irregardless of whether or not a person comes back to apologize. I've got to be ready to forgive so that I can grow in life, so I can move from the offense that hurts me. When I don't forgive, I'm allowing that offense to still remain active in my life. So I don't go anywhere because that offense blocks everything in my life that creates a growth for me to grow higher. The next thing we got to do is we got to learn how to sow into other people. When I'm talking about sowing, a lot of times when we think about sowing, the first thing we think about money. But I'm talking about invest your time, invest your talent, and invest your treasures in other people. What you plant is what you will grow. So if you're planting your time in other people, you're going to grow more time. You're going to develop something. If you're giving your talent and you're sowing it in other people, what it's going to do, your talent is going to increase. It's going to refine. It's going to be built in. And your treasures, if you're giving all that you have of your heart to other people, what's going to happen is you're going to grow inside of you so that you have more to pour out to other people. We've got to learn how to sow into other people. And it doesn't always have to be finances. What about sowing your time into someone today? What about sowing the talents that you have and rendering it unto someone today? What about giving the treasures of your heart and just giving it out, not looking for anything return? The next thing is we got to trust God's love. Love operates in abundance and it's not scarce. And the more that you pour out, the more God pours back into you. I want us to understand that trusting God's love is so important because even when we mess up, the Father still loves us. Even when we do wrong, the Father still loves us. Even when we say stuff wrong out of our mouth, the Father still loves us. He does not give up on us because we stumble and fall. He does not give up on us because we say the wrong thing. He does not give up on us because we do the wrong thing. We've got to trust God's love as we love other people. We can't give up on our sisters and our brother because they fall. As a matter of fact, Bible tells us that we ought to go back and we ought to get that sister in their brother when they falls, because now when we go back to get them, not only are we showing love, but we've gained a brother and a sister. We've got to learn how to give it freely unto someone. So if you're struggling with the ideal of loving freely, ask God to fill you, first of all, with his love. Ask God to give you the love of him so that you're able to love one another. One of my prayers is, God, help me to love one another. Help me to have the love of you to show unto other people. And because when we experience God's love, what we're doing is we want to share that love with everybody else. So I got a call to action for everyone that's on the line on this morning. I've got a challenge for you this week as we go along this week, as we begin to go along today. I want you to find a way to give love freely on today. I want you to do it without fear, and I want you to do it without hesitations on today. I want you to find a way just to show somebody some love today. Maybe you need to reach out to someone that you have lost touch with, someone that you haven't talked to a long time, and you just want to pick up the phone and say, hey, sis, how you doing? I hope you're doing fine. I just want to tell you that I love you on today. Maybe it's showing kindness to someone that you're not looking for anything in repay. Maybe when you're going to Dunkin' Donuts, or maybe when you're going to Panera Bread, which happens to be my favorite. Maybe when you're going in there this morning, or maybe when I go in there this morning, when I'm buying my own coffee, or when I'm buying my own cinnamon crunch bagel, maybe I can show love to someone else that's in there and purchase one for them on today. Maybe I'm not looking for them to pay my bill, but maybe I'm looking for me to pay their bill. Maybe I just want to show love to somebody that maybe it's simply choosing to love myself. A lot of times we want to give out love, but the reason why we stumble with the whole objective of love is because we don't love ourselves. Maybe today is the day that I'm challenging you or calling you to action to love yourself. What can you do today to show yourself some love? What can you do for this entire month to show yourself some love? In order to show yourself love, or when you do show yourself love, then you'll know what love feels like to be able to share love with someone else. Remember, love does not run out. So even on today, as I'm calling you to action and you begin to show yourself love on today, you don't have to worry about it depleting. You don't have to worry about it running out, because you're going to have more even to share with your neighbor, to share with someone who comes close to you on today. Why? Because love grows. It does not deplete. If you're standing on a corner today, if you're walking into a supermarket on today, why don't you show love as offering, how are you on today? Good morning, good afternoon, good to see you on today. Love it's not always monetary. Love could be holding a conversation and showing the love of God on the inside of you, radiating on the outside of you to the person that you're speaking with. Love is taking my words and season it so that when I speak to other people, I speak as in a word to gain them and not to lose them. Love is what we want to show today. And when we love without limits, what we do is we align God's purpose of acceleration and expansion in our life. we're aligning ourselves to accelerate and to expand in our life, to show the love of God to everyone that we come in contact. So I'm calling you to action on today. I'm calling you to show someone some love on today. I'm calling you to go the extra mile and give up your time, give up your challenge, give up your talent, and to give up your treasure on today. I want you on today to remember that love got to be love beyond limits. Don't set limits on your love on today, but freely give it to anyone that you come in contact with you. Thank you for tuning in with Tuesday Transformation Tidbits. I can't wait to connect with you next week as we continue the journey of growing with acceleration and transformation, as we talk about this whole month about love beyond limits. Love does not deplete, but love increases. Until then, I want everyone to be amazing on today and keep loving beyond limits. Salon, I love you to life.